the YouTube thing, and then gonna start up the Black Speech stream. And we're gonna start up both the anchor channels and see what the full spectrum report says today.
Guys across North America, they are coming for your rights. You'll probably have seen that Canadian prepper Nate just put out a video talking about new amendments to the Canadian gun rights laws that are being passed right now. And if you think in North America and the United States you are free from this, you are absolutely wrong. We can hear big scoffs and big calls all day for come get them. It is not going to matter. They are making laws and getting ready right now to enact new legislation that will widen red flag laws across the country. Look what just happened in Walmart. Look at what just happened a couple of days ago. They are going to push and pull for this, and they have hidden from you the data and statistics that show that legal, law-abiding firearms owners are capable of stopping atrocious acts quicker than the police can get there. The problem is anything that is a threat to larger establishment, larger power and control measures are about to be taken down. So if you think that the time is not right now to get out there and get everything that you need, Nate said that they were going to wipe out the stores across Canada in firearms that are being added to this bill. And I think he's right. Also in the United States, we're seeing, and we have a couple of pawn shop owner associates, we have a couple of friends in the gun business, and we are seeing them say that everybody is coming in. People who you would never, ever imagine. You know what I mean? The theys and the thems, they are coming in and buying firearms because something big is coming. Over 60% of America believes that there is going to be a civil war in the next couple of months. They believe that the political divisions that have been wrought upon us by politicians and by powerful controlling media operatives will divide this country to a point of violence. And so you have everybody from right to left to in between, to those who don't even know what's going on. They're so confused about themselves and about the world. They just know that they have to have some form of protection. And let me tell you, we are entering into a dangerous, dangerous phase there. So please do everything that you can to get your family ready for preparedness, whether that is buying some sort of bulletproof gear. Remember, that's a threat to establishment and power and control. So they have already made that illegal in some states across the United States of America, whether that's upping your skill set. You don't need, everybody says, Brad, how much ammo do I need? How many rounds do I need? You need the one that matters. And that's all you need. So if you are capable of using a firearm and your skill is better than your opposition that's trying to do unright violence to your family, then you just need that one piece of ammunition. But if that's not the case, or if you're looking at a case of overwhelming force being brought against you, then you of course need more. So whether you need to stock your pantry, stock your medicine cabinet with over-the-counter meds, or get antibiotics now before the shortages really start to affect you, remember, guys, we are looking at the precipice. We are literally right there watching the entire crumbling infrastructure of the economy in the United States of America. It is all falling down. Look at used car sales. I have a friend who I just talked to last night at around 1 a.m. He's the guy who, if you bring your car in, it is his job to make sure that it is up to its bells and whistles. He has to know every dent. He has to know every inch of it. And then he puts it to auction. He said, and let me tell you exactly what he said. I said, what do you think it's going to look like in 3 months? And all he did was one hand motion right down to the bottom, because he's the one taking them to auction. Look at what happened to Carvana. They are worthless. Your cars that you purchased just a couple of months ago are worth less than they were when you purchased them. And I'm not talking about the usual, you drive it off the lot and it loses 30% of its viability. No, I'm talking about you should not have paid that much for it. But they don't care. They're going to lend you the money because they want you as a slave. You can already see this crisis beginning to unfold. Narrative is going to quickly move away from euphoria, which you're seeing in retail space right now, because they are so glad that the schlubs, you and me, are willing to pay 30% more than we were just a year ago at the grocery store and at the register. Then you're going to see panic as massive amounts of inventory and purposefully destroyed consumer demand, in which the Federal Reserve has made the pocketbooks of the Americans so tight by charging them more on their mortgage, by changing their auto loan prices, by doing all of these things that people just can't afford to live. So purposeful, destroyed demand. All of this is going to hit in the next 30 days when shelves are full and stores experience record returns. The panic is about to set in. Crypto looks like it was just the band-aid that came off. It was a band-aid to the American dream, the one where just anybody can go out there and make something of themselves, right? And then the band-aid came off and everybody said, oh my gosh, I'm looking at a nightmare. And that's what we're facing now. In Israel, speaking of geopolitics, the Israeli army radio says that the alert level must be raised in the city of Jerusalem. It will be raised throughout all of Israel. We heavily expect Israel and the United States of America to move with other Western countries against Iran in the next couple of weeks, maybe the next couple of months, but it looks like it's going to be the next couple of weeks in some form. You can expect cyber attacks and you can expect maybe a new sort of botnet to go out, but what we expect in the end is military kinetic action. All the open source intelligence out there says that Israel is preparing to move. All the military sources that we have say that Israel is trying to get everybody, trying to get the USA, trying to get Europe, trying to get all of their allies and even one-time allies to understand the threat that Iran poses. You know, there's a bit of a what you would call a prophecy, right, in religion. Now, the question, of course, from a logical individual like many of you are, like I am, is how much of something is a prophecy and how much is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, that's they always say, you know, you don't want to know when your hour of death is, when your moment of death is, because maybe you'll do something to make that happen. Just because you knew that somebody said that was what was going to happen. I just had a friend last night say, Brad, I went and did this thing, and they told me I was going to have this issue, and then boom, I had this issue. Self-fulfilling prophecy. So is it because Israel and Iran are just destined to destroy each other and to envelop the rest of the world in all sorts of damnation? Or are they doing this either on purpose or they're just doing it because they believe they're supposed to? Experts are warning that we are on the cusp of a massive health concern across the world. They're saying that initial experimentations in data discovery shows that in the healthcare setting, we are expecting more fungal infections in geographical ranges that expand around the world. They are found outside of areas where pathogens are thought to be endemic. We are definitely seeing, says Dr. George Thompson, an infectious disease specialist at the University of California, we are definitely seeing disease in locations that we previously have not. That should ring a little bit of bell to you right now, because you're seeing hospitals across the USA saying, we've never seen children this sick before. We've never seen adults coming in with illnesses from RSV, something they were exposed to in their own childhood, now giving them double lung pneumonia, now giving them antibiotic resistant bacteria. Now they're just suffering from XYZ. This is happening in the USA. And then you have on the scientific side, these individuals saying, look, these fungal infections, we're just seeing things like we've never seen before. So Dr. George says that it's concerning, because if we are recognizing these locations, where are the places it's occurring that just have not been recognized yet? Thompson co-authored an article that was published just 2 days ago in the journal Annals of Internal Medicine. It suggests that 10% of infectious disease from funguses are diagnosed outside of regions where pathogens are known to be endemic. People generally get these infections after breathing in spores. The immune system fights off these invaders, resulting in flu-like symptoms that resolve on their own. But for some people, usually those with weakened immune systems, or if they've had a recent bout of virus or disease that has dropped their immune system, or if they're doing something to their body that has dropped their immune system, then those individuals will develop or can develop life-threatening illness. They can get pneumonia, they can get meningitis. This great majority of people who get valley fever will tell you that they get a cough that lasts a few weeks. Then they say it goes away. Dr. Arturo Casadeville says, a microbiologist and immunologist at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, says when people have these issues or when they have just bad luck because they get a very large dose, these diseases can disseminate and get outside of the lung. So these doctors, these scientists are expecting a massive change in fungal infection, massive change in viral infection. They're saying children are getting sicker than ever. We're seeing hospitals shutting down. Some are unable to take in new patients. We are looking at an SHTF event happening right now. There's a lot of suspected Chinese national espionage and control events taking place across the USA. Reports in the last couple of hours to days show that a man has been arrested after 4 Chinese nationals were executed at a farm in Oklahoma. This individual, another Chinese, I don't know whether he's a national or not, was arrested in Miami, Florida. A license plate reader flagged his vehicle while he was driving because we do live in 1984. Not that he should get away with it, just that these sort of control measures exist. Chen was apprehended. He's awaiting extradition. In an earlier statement, the Bureau said the victims included 3 men and 1 woman. They were not identified but described as Chinese nationals. Now, I'm going to remind you that a business person, Chinese national, was just executed in Mexico. And then we have these reports coming out that China's police stations are operating in the USA, in Canada, in Europe. Chinese police stations operating with no jurisdiction. Do you think that they only operate against Chinese individuals? No. It's just that when you get tapped, you get covered up. Or then it's just an unknown mystery. It's an unsolved mystery of what happened to you or your kids or your family or your car or your house. Oh, sorry, that was your house that burned down? Sorry about that. This is just part of spying and espionage happening around the world. Do you think that the Iranian revolution that's happening right now is all Iranian? Absolutely not. The American government has a large play in this. And the US government has already spoken out, basically throwing shade to Iran, saying that, look, you should have played with us on the nuclear field. You should have, came to some sort of an agreement with us. Now look what's happening to you. They are doing these things, and these things will bite average Americans in the butt in the future. They say the suspect entered the property at 5:45 p.m. Several employees were inside at the time. He remained there for a significant amount of time before the executions began. A Russian magnate whose Wagner group is heavily involved in the fighting in Ukraine has declared that the European Parliament should be dissolved after it pushed for a terrorist designation against Russia. Guys, this is breaking information coming out within the last 24 hours that the parliament deciding Russia to be a terrorist organization, a terrorist state, is absolutely massive. It's going to have far-reaching consequences. North Korea will take extremely strong measures and responses to anyone who encroaches on its sovereign rights. Remember, North Korea already said they were going to nuke you in America. They've already shown that they have the intercontinental ballistic missile capabilities to reach both the west coast and the east coast of the USA. Those missiles can be loaded with nuclear weapons. How do you think Russia wants to get back at America for what it's doing? Do you think that it will not just give what it needs to North Korea, or already has done so, to have them act as a proxy? We are in a game of thrones. The problem is the USA, the old world order, the USD as the backbone currency of the world, it is now worth less. And soon it will be worthless, because their goal is to undermine everything that you have known to prosper for the last 100 years. Hospitals across the country, especially in northern regions of the USA, are experiencing a never before seen, according to health workers, explosion of viral infections that are laying children out flat. A surge in childhood respiratory disease, RSV, and statewide nursing shortages are causing massive disruptions. In the past week, Oregon hospitals have transferred their sickest pediatric children to Idaho because of a lack of pediatric ICU beds in Oregon. I know people are going to get mad. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Oregon. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not from there, but just lay off me for a minute. The impetus for making this change is that we're concerned we wouldn't be able to serve the next child who needs pediatric critical care. That's Dr. Carl Erickson, a pediatric critical care expert at OHSU. Every hospital, he says, will at times turn patients away. What we're seeing now is that collective groups of hospitals are at a point where they are concerned about their ability to serve the next patient. The crisis standard took place this week. The shift is driven by a huge surge in pediatric viral cases. Children with RSV make up 25% of the total number of patients right now in pediatric medical units. Kids need extensive care. It's hard for them to breathe. Erickson says they often really need intensive nursing care at levels you're not able to provide a regular inpatient medical surgical unit. RSV infections often go away on their own. You need proper hydration, sleep, you need nutrition, over-the-counter medication. For parents who are managing babies, pediatricians say that you need to use nasal suctioning. Guys, when we had RSV in this house, in my home, it was the most mucus I have ever had come out of my nose. I was producing mucus like I produce urine going to the bathroom, except I know I drink and that drinking makes urine. So I'm like, where is this even coming from? I had such a bad infection because of it that my blowing my nose was literally like egg yolk. I showed it to the doctor. Remember, I told you I'm a big fan of telehealth, right? So I showed it to the doctor using my phone, and the doctor eyes go wide. And she goes, "Oh my gosh, you have a massive sinus infection." It wasn't just me. My kids, same thing. Is just a spout turned on. Kelly, same thing. Friends we know that have gotten it, same exact thing. This is something different. It is strange whether it merged with the flu like they've shown it can. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that to this degree, we have to be a little bit proactive and we have to be a little bit reactive. We can be proactive with our health and nutrition and diet. Get on your vitamins. Lay off the sugar. Change whatever you need to help. Get HEPA filters running in your house. If you're sick, don't go by the vulnerable. These are very common things that we can do. Get enough sleep. Make sure you're drinking enough water. Guys, huge. Sugar is absolutely huge for me. It disrupts my whole body. I've had to cut it out to zero, and I'm talking even natural sugar. Something about my body changed. I don't know what it is or what it was. I just can't tolerate it. I know my grandmother, who lived to a nice, ripe old age in her late 80s, was the same way. Stomach massively ripped up with sugar. She was very fit, very skinny, very thin. Just couldn't handle it. Must be something in my genes. All I know is that sugar is bad for a lot of people. Does that mean it's going to stop going in my preps? No, because when the rest of the world is burning on fire, I'm going to eat a brownie. I'm going to eat some chocolate cookies, and I'm going to eat some oatmeal. You know I'm going to. It goes in my preps. We still give it in moderation to family, but I know that in the USA, we live on excess. Sugar is everywhere. So do what you can. Get healthy now, because these viruses, these fungal infections, they're going to keep getting worse. They're not going to get better. We have reached the point of no return. We enjoyed a great decade where the plagues didn't happen. It was a sweet time. We could all just never think about what we do before we're putting our fingers in our nose and touching our eyeballs and putting things in our mouth that shouldn't be. And speak to a lot of politicians in that regard, can't we? But we did this. We lived with almost impunity for years and years, decades at a time, and that time is over. It's only natural that we have wasted that period. And so now, that time when great plagues wiped the earth and waves of disease spread across our planet, that time is back. It's back harder than Arnold Schwarzenegger. It is back for good. Now, will they say they have some great new invention that they have created that will give you the cure-all? Sure. But I know I've seen a lot of horror movies start out that way, and those great cures that they make often turn into the worst horrors of humanity. I hope that's not the case. One of our viewers, Rasahaba, I hope I'm saying that right, wrote in last night. She says, I am a nurse in a Midwestern state. The hospital where I work does not have a pediatric unit. However, we will be opening a special unit soon to take the pediatric overflow from other hospitals if and when the situation arises. Guys, this is how we get on the ground information here. She has nothing to do with that story that I read you that was just a headline and some information from doctors and physicians. This is a viewer of this channel writing a comment on yesterday's video before that story I just read you ever was talked about here. We have a community here that cares. So Rasahava says, however, we will be opening a special unit. We are severely understaffed. And when more staff is leaving the hospital setting every day, it's making things bad. We all know that. Severe burnout. On my unit, for safety reasons, my assignment should contain no more than 4 patients. However, for the last few months, I've had as many as 10 patients because nurses are leaving quicker than they can be replaced. The hospital systems are extremely fragile right now, but that doesn't stop them from making record profits, does it, El Comrade? And I've told everyone I know to do everything they can to stay healthy. And guys, that's exactly what we need to do. Stay as healthy as you can. Get on top of your health now. Do whatever you can to get off or to find alternatives to pharmaceuticals if you can't get them. These are important times. I want to read a viewer question or two before we wrap things up here, and I want to hope that you and your family have a great time in the next 24 hours, spending time with the ones that you love. Friendsgiving, just as important. Get out with the people you care about. LDD says, I am a North American citizen who is originally from Michigan. I lived on the Atlantic side of Florida for 16 years before moving to Ecuador in 2013. I live in the Andes. Houses here are built out of cinder blocks. No furnaces in Ecuador. Many times the temperature inside of my place has been in the 50s. I have hot water bottles, heavy blankets, warm clothes, gloves, thick socks, and 2 dogs to sleep with me. It can be done. So guys, get ready for a cold winter. Issa TQ2 says, question, will the Northeast see these blackouts? Yeah, very likely. We are going to see an energy crunch hit America soon. It's only a matter of time before these disastrous things happen to you where you're at. It might not be today. Today we don't have a war between Texas and Russia. Where is that war? It's between Ukraine and Russia. Well, let me tell you, all the politicians in the USA are doing everything they can to get us involved in that. So that one day that might come home to you. So get ready today. Today we don't have a massive military violence in the country. That's not to say that isn't happening in Mexico. Things are bad. Just because they're not happening to you doesn't mean we have to have inaction due to a lack of empathy. We need to regrow our empathy and regrow our action. Susan Cisco, question. First, let me say thank you to you and Kelly. You both are awesome in getting information out and helping everyone. Well, thanks, Susan. I can't thank you enough. I wish nothing but health, happiness, and endurance through these trying times to you and your family. I appreciate that. I have 2 back surgeries. I've had 2 back surgeries so far due to spinal stenosis. I take pain medications, and I'm wondering if you can help me out with what kind of herbal remedies can I take for extreme pain, for when the S hits the fan. That way I can stock up on what I would need now. I've tried to look it up myself, but I have trouble trying to figure it out. Again, thank you so much. Lots of love, Susan. So pain medication, definitely something everyone has to think about for all measures of care. The problem with that is abuse and overuse, things like that. You need to look into things that are natural remedies and currently viable and available. Wild lettuce, definitely something that you should start looking into. But again, you have to be trained in it. You have to, get with an herbalist that actually knows about, getting these things prepared. Learn how to do these things yourself. Also, I would consider, I have a lot of friends who have got off of, Oxycontin, off of pain medication because they've had serious injuries and they've gotten onto things like medical marijuana. Let me tell you something, if I need to move to a state where that's available to be a viable option for me, because I need management that isn't a chemical pharmaceutical, you can bet your last bullet that that's what I would be doing, moving to a state where that was viable. Somewhere like Colorado, somewhere like California, even though I have absolutely no want to go there, we have to do those things, right? We have to do our chores, do our prep work, and then have fun. Well, if you're in pain for most of your waking day, it really takes away your ability to do your chores. makes doing your prep work harder, and having fun is a memory. And so you need to get management of that pain and that condition right then and there. So do everything that you can. Talk with herbalists, talk with people nearby. Do what you can to get ready, because you're not going to be the only one in pain soon. And the knowledge that you gain right now, the friends that you make right now, those are people's souls that you can help in the future. Guys, thank you for being here with us. I hope that you and your family are having safe travels, spending good time with friends and family, and eating a bunch. Turkey's great, chicken's great, rice, mashed potatoes, everything like that. Do what you can to fill up. These are the memories that you'll make right now that maybe next year, when things are skimpier, we might look back and say, do you remember all that I overate last year? That will be good times in our memories. Stay safe, everyone, and keep watch. This week's Full Spectrum News is brought to us by you, all of our members on Patreon. Check out nutrientsurvival.com/FSS. It's real long-term food storage. Maybe not the best for Thanksgiving, but I'd sure rather be camping right now than anything else. So maybe it is right for you on Thanksgiving Day. Check it out, see if it's right for you. It's long-term food storage that they have kept the nutrients involved in. Once you get your pantry stocked up and everything, you need something that you can just throw in your backpack and go. Use the code FSS15 for a limited time, and that'll give you 15% off. Check out